a regular on one of the yes, I'm a regular on one of the major meetings. I'm in a TV stations in Nigeria, which is a TVC, right? Those Nigerians that are here will know about TVC. I do analysis almost on weekly basis, and then on radio talking about issues of nation building, sustainable development, and all of the rest. And I always want to see myself as a lifelong student. I keep learning, and of course, I've been connected to some platforms like the UNITA and the Yali Network, UNITA United Nations Institute for Training and Research. I found myself getting back on the platform to learn one course at a time.
Wonderful. Thank you, Chuck. Just so that you guys know, I've just hit the record. I wanted to record this with the idea, if nobody has any problem with it, we might use it on the media platform. So James, if you will share a little bit about yourself.
Chukuma, it's nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you.
It's good to meet you. You have a very amazing profile, and the work you do is almost the same thing I do here. Okay, I'm presently the spokesperson of the Democratic Parliament, a parliamentary committee member of leaders in incubation. Mostly we advocate for policy.
James, we're having a hard time hearing you. Can you get a little closer to the mic? Yeah.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, better.
Yes, it's better.
Okay. Okay, we do oversight functions like we check, monitor, and also follow up budget and the implementation of these budgets. We also to engage ourselves with civil space to ensure that the needs of the people are met, are fully met. And we also follow up the SDG goals. In our parliament, we have different committees, and the committees are divided into the SDG goals. So each person has a committee he heads, he assists, and what they do is to ensure that whatever committee you are assigned to, you have the capacity to carry out a pet project with your team, with your committee members on that particular, probably let's say poverty alleviation. You have to do a project on poverty alleviation to ensure that whatever community or the communities your committee members are covering, to a large extent, beneficiaries of poverty alleviation program. So that's basically what I am into. I'm also a real estate consultant, and that's for the hustle. But passionately, I am into the civic space, where I just love to see progress. I love to see my community affected positively. I love to see leadership translated in the lives of people, and I love to see also that the people are actually getting the things they have been yearning for. In our client, we have situations whereby people come doing political rallies, they make promises, give manifestos, and at the end of the day, they don't get to do anything. So my primary concern is to ensure that these promises are translated to the people, and that's what I've been working hard to. I've been advocating for that. I've also been using the partnership with media to ensure that my voice is amplified and the needs of the people are brought to bear. So that's basically what I do.
Perfect. Thank you, James. James has the interest and heart and passion for governance. So he aims big. He's going to be the governor of his state someday. So maybe beyond, right? Okay. There you go. Prince has not arrived yet, and it's not like him. So I'm going to go bug him while you guys continue, just to make sure that he didn't forget. He's usually on time for everything. He's usually ahead of everybody else. So something was, he runs a nonprofit too, so something might be up with that. but I'll check in on him. And Ambassador, if you'll do a little bit of intro on how you came to what you're doing and the type of work, because I think that gels up really nicely with some of what these young people are aiming to do. And so we want to get into some Q&A after that. So if you'll go ahead, and if while somebody's talking, if you want to go ahead and mute yourself.
Okay. So can you hear me, everyone? Right. Okay. My name is Ghazala Khan. I am ambassador to Federation of International Gender and Human Rights, and they nominated me for my own country, the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. So how it comes, like how I am here. There is a long story but short. That when I was studying in Malaysia, and there I joined one non-profit organization, you can say just for fun or for time pass on the weekends. And there I start working on the women empowerment. Before that, when I visit my own country, I went to a chamber of commerce and I collect some data because I'm also a researcher and working on the women empowerment. So one lady asked me that you are collecting the data. So what you are going to do with that? Will it will be helpful for us? Then I start thinking that yes, I should do something which are for the betterment of these people, because I'm just collecting the data from them and they are giving me their own time. But at the end, what they will get from me at the end. And then after I start doing research on women empowerment, and when you are working on women empowerment, and then it is directly connected to human rights, it's connected to where people are suffering, where people have problems, how they came into the business, and what are their shortfalls. So these all are linked together. And then online, I joined the Global Goodwill Ambassadors, and I was selected as ambassador for Pakistan. So this is another platform for me. From there, I start working online, and I was introduced to Dr. Amina Ali. She is heading a Federation of International Gender and Human Rights, and one day she announced that she is going to start internship program, which is diplomatic fellowship. So it was very amazing and sounds very interesting for me, because I always like conflict solving, managing the people, and how to make them understand each other. And I'm also interested in like different culture and their activities and the religion, how we can live in the harmony. These all topics are very, very near to my heart. Then I started working with her as a diplomatic fellow. It was 1.5 year diplomatic fellowship. Our job was to make, you can say it was a very big project. It was just like doing a PhD thesis. We provided them a different proposal, different projects when they asked 1.5 year. And then we produced the policies and strategies. They asked me and my group to make policies on IDPs, like internally displaced women, vulnerable women, which is maybe she is having pregnancy, or she is abandoned from the family, she is run away from sexual harassment or trafficking, any anything could be. So how you are going to settle that women with the kids, without kids, with boys, with girls and boys, are just having the first baby. So different situations, and how you will relate them with the harmony, how you will educate them, how you give them skills, how you will bring them to the religion, to the peace. So there are different challenges for us, and we provided the policies for each and every requirement they asked us. And from there, I moved toward the humanity and humanitarian task. And now it has been 2021. So these policies were presented because it was asked by the UN Women, ECOWAS, and African Union, because they have lack of these understanding and policies. And I think being a common person, we better understand what are the lacks and where are the gaps, instead of the person who is directly elected or nominated and he sits on the high profile job, but he doesn't know about the basic requirement of the people who are internally displaced. I can say somehow I'm also internally displaced because I belong to the northern valley of Swat, Pakistan. And in 2008, when the Taliban attacked the Swat and the army operation starts, so we, because of having a lot of opportunities, so we moved to another country. But a lot of people who could not move and who couldn't manage, they lost their lives, their houses, their farms, their jobs, and they were displaced to different provinces of the Pakistan, and they lived in the tents and the places which are not very, you can say, safe, or they don't have the basic facilities. So all through which I researched and saw and you can say research papers which I read. So I squeezed them all and I made a policies for the internally displaced people. So we can also adjust these policies in every part of the world where there are refugees, there are displaced people, there are non-state people. So that's all about me. And here now I more understand it, that what is the diplomacy, how the diplomat work. So the platform is open for you. Whatever you want to ask, I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Go ahead, James. Do you have a question? Any of you have a question, you can unmute and ask. This is your floor. And by the way, welcome to Prince. He has shown up. Prince, I don't know if you're able to talk to us right now, but if you wanted to pop in and say hello to everybody, just give us a one-liner about who you are.
Okay, thank you so much, Mary. Good afternoon from Nigeria. I'm sorry for coming late. I had a little task to do here. So my name is Prince Uzomomenu from Nigeria, and I run a nonprofit called Caring Beyond Borders Foundation that is basically youth-led, which is into youth empowerment and development. And we also give care and development to orphans and vulnerable children. And also I'm a policy fellow at the Nigerian Global Affairs Council here in Nigeria. And we've been looking into policy insight, policy making, which I've been able to learn a lot from the Nigerian system. And I'm looking forward to a global connection as well. So I want to thank you for this great opportunity. I want to thank Ambassador Khan. And I also thank each and every one of you for this great opportunity to be here and talk about
So thank you, Prince. Yeah, I think probably you, James, and Chakwama will have plenty of conversation to have in the coming. I think the three of you could run, Nigeria together. You could make things, big changes. You need to talk to the ambassador about policy making now, but Sam is going to going back to school in a master's, and she's just come out of an internship with one of our league members out of France. And she is into international studies and politics and governance and that sort of thing. So all of you are poised and ready wherever you may be. It's just the three of you men are in Nigeria proper. So Sam, you're getting a whole different perspective on things here. So I'm gonna, you missed a little bit of the introductions and how Ambassador Khan got to where she is, but it's she's had some interesting connections along the way that's led her to what she's doing now. But maybe you heard a little bit about what she's into with her policymaking, with helping the displaced people around the world, and has gotten so far as creating some policies that are now in the works of getting blessed where they need to be. So I would open the floor to any questions that you guys have. You want to, just raise your hand so I can see you, and then we'll take you off mute so not everybody talks at once. Any particular questions that you guys have? Okay, James, you're on.
Okay. My question is, how do we, because she shared a story and I can relate to the same thing in parts of Nigeria. In the Northeast Nigeria, we have crisis, we have war, we have intense war, people are displaced. When you go to North, you have farmers who are having conflict with herdsmen who are constantly attacking their farmers. We've done a project in Benue State, precisely in Nigeria, where most of these farmers, I gave them assistance with my team. We gave them assistance so that they can grow their crops and not waste their produce. So it's actually painful when these farmers who are mostly dependent on their farm produce to distribute and also for their family are not, they are not really integrated in the country, especially when it comes to the constant attacks they have from herdsmen and bandits and the rest. So I want to ask, what provisions does the UN have for such scenarios? If you come down to South Nigeria, where I've actually worked the more, I have actually worked around communities that have.
James, you're frozen. I'm going to take me off video.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
We can now.
Okay.
Go ahead. You said what provisions? Okay. That's where you lost. I think we lost you.
Okay. I've actually worked in this thing where we have land disputes in my community where people are constantly struggling. People they are living in constant fear. They are living in constant fear because of attacks from anywhere. And then it seems like the government deliberately ignore these things because they know that once they sink in, once they take money from the security vote, they will keep, having their personal gains, selfish personal gains from the conflicts that affects the community. So I want to ask, what implementation strategy does the UN have to resolve conflict, and how can the UN integrate more people, more young people like us to, into the peace building mission where we can actually liaise or have a front and liaise talk with the government, talk with the stakeholders, talk with the community people to, to bring about peace. Because without, I've come to realize, without peace, it is difficult for us in Africa yet to have progress. Without peace, the farm produce will not be there. Without peace, there are so many things that will be developed. So I want to know what program and strategies the UN have for people like us to be integrated.
Okay, let me very clear. Like human rights, there are 30 rules for the human rights. Here, everyone has a right to live. Everyone has a right to feed them, and everyone has a right to have proper home. These all rules and laws are given by the UN. Okay, they can only give you the rules and the guideline. After that, your country which has the conflict and they have any UN representative, then the UN representative and the person from your country, these both persons are responsible for this, to sit on the table and listen to the both parties and decide according to the like whatever they are saying, and who is on the right and who is wrong, and what they should compensate to each other. But I think there is a lack of empathy when we listen to if I'm employed in the UN platform and I am just doing my duty, and the other person who is employed for the government and he is just doing his duty. So they don't do with the feelings, like they don't feel positive or negative feelings. They just listen to the one, and the other party just like someone is hearing in the court, and they decide on the basis of the evidence. I think here we should go more deep into this. NGOs like you, like the youngsters, the people who can directly communicate with their own people and societies, and they know the problems from the deep root level. They are supposed to make the policies and they are supposed to provide it to their government, because UN cannot solve each and every problem. And I told you that if someone is doing without having sympathies or empathies into the problem, they cannot resolve the issue. So here, the first of all, like in this scenario, you have to know why the one person is destroying the farms or the lands of the other person. There must be some gratitude, some grudges, or something in their mind. So for that, on the community basis, we need some workshops on mental wellness. You can ask them to come and join us. When slowly and steadily, when you make them realize what they are doing is wrong, and the other party who is suffering, because everything cannot be solved on the table. You need to be act like a human, having some empathy and having some uh, positive attitude to the others, and something in your heart which can realize the other that he is doing what he is doing is wrong for the humanity, first of all. So these are the deep rooted points from where you can start. Really, do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
You got it?
Yeah. Yes, I'm with you.
So from here you can be a best person to solve these conflicts and how to manage these conflicts. So from my side, this is the best solution which I'll offer you. And I bet once you try to implement this, you can see the positive result, and you will be the person who come to and tell me that what you told me, we did on our own community, and we invited the both parties and gave them some workshops on the positive attitude, on the positive lifestyle, positive living, how to take care of their own manhood, other people, and what are, maybe you can also relate it to the religion. The basics of every religion is peace, and they never ask you to do or exploit someone or do some wrong things to someone. So I think that this is the best solution. Hope you understand. Any question?
I do. Uh, before another person asks a question, I've been privileged to be trained by the UN and then the AU on. There was a time, I think in 2019, the AU launched the program Silencing the Guns, and I was a peace building practitioner. But till date, if not for the little work I've been doing in communities, till date, they have not really deployed us into the field for this mission. I think the knowledge they imparted is enough for us to begin to communicate and build interpositional roles, and then organize dialogue and the rest with the people. But they have not yet, deployed us to do anything. I don't know if there's any plan from the UN to, get the practitioners to go into the fields to do this work, because they can't do it on their own. They can't just go on their own and say, I'm coming to interface, I'm coming to, work with or understand what your problems are. At least there should be a backing from the agency.
Yeah, there should be a backing from it. For that, like you cannot directly influence them. There is another proper channel that you request your government, and your government asks them to intervene, or you send them any proposal and ask your government to sit and work with you, as like they train some people and send it to your country, and after that, uh, when you got the training, then it's your responsibility how to approach the government officials and the UN officials working in your own country, and how you can provide them solutions. And maybe when you write to them and provide them solutions, and they can plan something.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome. Yes.
Anyone else? Prince, do you have, I know that you have aims toward policymaking and that sort of thing, and you probably come at it from a little different perspective, perhaps. You want to share and ask a question?
Yes, thank you so much, Ambassador. You've really given us the insights. Like basically, I've also been trained by some of this organization, most especially I was trained by Peace Corps on peacemaking, peace building, and and other intervention frameworks where you can mediate peace within the society. But unfortunately, where we have the challenge is in terms of collaborations and partnership. It's really tough at that point in time. So I don't know how Ambassador Ghazala can help us out in terms of how do we go about collaborating with the United Nations. So this is my own, how do we? I know we have branches in our countries, but most times the protocols, I don't know, might be a little bit on,
Okay.
How do we?
I am specifically nominated by my own country. So Federation of International Gender and Human Rights have their own branch, UN Women Gambia. They are also directly working on Nigeria. You can directly contact Dr. Amina Ali, and she will definitely provide you the pathway how you can work in the Nigeria. And secondly, collaboration, and these things work like when you find the same-minded people and you provide them your policies and ask them that do you have like you want, there is some gap, or is there thing you want me to implement in that, and after that you can collaborate with them and work on these issues. But better is I will recommend you to directly contact Dr. Amina Ali. Maybe you can refer me as a referee that she asked me to contact you. They are directly running their program in Nigeria with the name of Federation of International Gender and Human Rights. So maybe she'll provide you more helpful and great insights.
Thank you so much. I have another question, Ambassador.
Yeah, just a minute. One point quick pop into my mind that there is. I checked that on the platform of UN Women, you can go to the Nigeria site and you can check that they offer the collaboration, and they offer if someone wants to work with them. If you Google how to work with the UN, so there are some links which will provide you how you can collaborate with the UN within your own country with like your organization. If you have a non-profit organization, you can collaborate. Another is USAID. They also allow any non-profit organization directly contact them and provide your proposal, and they'll directly, if they accept your proposal and it clicks into their mind, then they can directly provide you the funds and the way how you can implement it.
Thank you so much. That's wonderful. My last, maybe probably last question is about. I'm really glad you represent your country in the United Nations. That's so wonderful. So someday I also look forward to representing my country too as well. So what are the steps you think as a young person can take, like to achieve that aim? Can you share how you got about getting it, how you got the appointment, and so that we can have idea, can you share your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Like on the UN website, you can check, they provide the internships. Some are paid and some are, I think mostly are paid. If you fill the a login and provide your all credential, they will give you your referee number at the end. Then if there are some position which relates to your specification and your qualification, they will ask you to join it. And like once you go into this as an internee, after that you can explore a different position.
Okay, that's true. I've been actually trying. I registered for UN volunteers. I'm a
Uh-huh.
part of I registered as well, but I don't know. It's most of their requirements is they want you to do your masters. They want to see a master's degree attached to it. Then I'm wondering, for volunteer, I thought, somebody who's done with the first degree and
Mhm.
has over like 4 years community work,
Mhm.
both local and a little bit national. So they should be given criteria. They shouldn't, the requirements shouldn't be so high,
Yeah,
most especially
That's
for we
true.
in Africa, because we're ready to serve, and
Mhm.
we need to be empowered. We need to be supported, so the condition I feel is a little bit
yeah,
a little
this is
bit high,
right.
Sounds like a
to
policy
volunteer.
change needed.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. So that's my concern because
Yeah.
I do apply. I see some workstations where I apply, but I noticed that most times they specifically give you
yeah.
the requirement of master's
It
degree.
eliminate participation with entire countries that are too small to be able to do anything.
Yeah, I do agree with that. That they ask you if you have a master degree in international relation and social work or something like that. So, what I can ask you that there is a one University of Peace. You can Google it, and they provide the scholarships and they provide you masters in diplomacies in policies making and strategy. It is the UN based university. So maybe if you can apply and get the scholarship part time, you can work with them on the projects, and also after that you can get any job or project from them. No one knows.
Okay, what did you call it? University of Peace, right?
Yeah, University of Peace. Yeah, it is
Mm.
UN
Okay,
based university.
thank you so much. I appreciate.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you. I'll look into that.
Yeah, sure.
That's great. That's good information. There are so many resources that a lot of these young folks don't know about. Ambassador,
Yeah,
you're delivering tons of
actually,
information.
UN Women, if you check the website, they also provide the free courses and some training and some programs. Just you need to Google it, whatever you want and which field you want to excel. So part time you can excel your skills. It's like lifetime achievements. You can never stop learning,
Yeah.
and you must learn. Yeah, you must learn always.
Well, that's right up Chuck Walma's alley for sure. Chuck, do you have any questions, comments for Ambassador?
Okay. Thank you so much, Ambassador and Mary. It's nice meeting the ambassador virtually. And the aspect I want to comment, like in terms of the learning opportunity, like scholarship, apart from the ones that sometimes UNITA could grant some fellowships and discount courses. Like there's one of the courses I'm almost done with diplomacy in multilateral or diploma in multilateral diplomacy. I was filing up for masters in anti-corruption. But looking at the dollar rate, it was quite high. But like usually for those that have taken a couple of UNITA courses as alumnus, we are entitled to 25% discount. But when of course, I applied for that one, they said, okay, because they have some partnership with IACA, an institute that just set out an anti-corruption, that someone have to pay like all of the full rates, which like converting into Naira was really quite a huge sum, so that was a kind of a limitation. So I want to find out, apart from the United Nations, are there other organizations that are interested in developing scholars, making some interventions? I know a few of such interventions sometimes come from the Swedish government, where they find out those that have the competence, interest, and who want to study further but don't have all of the money. They try to do some forms of intervention. So I want to know, are there organizations interested in community work, women empowerment beyond the United Nations that probably could be asking whether one or two persons in Africa like making a change they would like to like partner with? And that's my question.
Yeah, what I understand that you want to know that there are other organizations which want to collaborate and work. Yeah. If you Google it, yeah, I checked on LinkedIn. There are numerous organizations in Nigeria, especially working for the Nigeria, and you have your own non-profit organization. So you have the platform, and you can ask them to collaborate with you, and you can the collaboration will be in terms of if you need any things like Federation of International Gender and Human Rights, if you provide books for the schools, if you want, so they can provide. If you contact them and ask that if you need the sanitary napkins for the female in Nigeria, if you need the books for the kids, if you need clothes or any other thing, so you can make an application, and they will guide you how you can get it, and they will send it to you. And there are a lot of organizations which are actively working in Nigeria and for the Nigeria.
Okay. Do you know any of such organization, like the name of anyone?
As I personally know, that Queen Aminata is working. She has one NGO, and there is another one name with hers, HERRS, maybe. You can
Know
check it.
her.
Otherwise, I can provide later the links to the mail.
Yeah, I actually just interviewed Her Excellency Dr. Karen Lomax.
Yeah, Dr.
and
Karen,
hers.
she is working great.
Yeah, she's, we just put her interview up, Chuck. So if you'll go check that out, if you need to get connected with her, they do some of that work. Also, the one before her, Lumbi Banlamba, sure, her organization also does that. She's out of Texas, and I think Karen's out of California.
Yeah.
So both of them will do some of that. There also is another woman, Lisa Hertz, Leisa. I don't know if you know her, Ambassador, HIRTZ, I believe. Here comes Prince again. He had dropped out. Anyway, her organization does birth control and menstrual cups. And they work with the United Nations and other organizations in getting those products into the right areas. So the cups that she has actually is good for birth control and menstruation, and is reusable. So it can be washed, rinsed, sanitized, and reused. So a whole lot better sometimes than other, things that you can, that the girls are using now. But those are at least 3 resources that I know right now, if that's what you're looking for, Chuck. I want to kind of get, did you have another question, Chuck?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Before we get to Sam, I just wanted to ask, because we really wanted to talk about policymaking here from the standpoint of how to. I wanted to ask the ambassador, how did you start with the first policy that you were attempting to make?
How do I start?
Research. I mean, tell me how did you start with just an idea, or somebody came to you with a problem and you went, yep, we can work on that?
Yeah, the first, I start with this diplomatic fellowship, which they offered me, like it was task for every day, every week. And they asked that these are the points, and we need you to work on this and provide us 10 pages, 11 pages, or 2-3 pages. So after that, I go to like when you do first-hand research, you can Google the specific area problems and search, like note down what are the problems and where is the gap. Like if the affectee or the vulnerable person is not satisfied with these resources he is getting, so there is a gap. So I point out these points, and after that I sometimes visited, because they give us the task to visit some NGOs and CSOs below, who directly work with the women or directly work with the kids. And so this is the procedure how I point out the gaps, where the lapses, and what I want to add the points which can fill these gaps and give relaxation or compensation to the person. Like another one point, like they asked me that the spiritual places are places for worship. It's common in the you can say the in US that there are Christian worshippers or Muslim worshippers who have different places they can go and worship there. But in Pakistan, it's not like that. Like, men are allowed to worship and go to the mosque, but there are very less privileges for the women to go to the mosque, and they can offer their prayers, or they have a different their own section. Are there these worship places provide any mm, health information, are taking care of any women, are providing them any trainings or worship, so workshops for their mental wellness. So these type of things were lacking in my own country. So I provide them policies with that we can attach the mosque with the government institutions and with the government, so that we can also collaborate with the you can say the health institutions, which when the group of female come to the worship place, and they do their prayers, the weekly or the daily prayers, and after that they can have one doctor, a female doctor, which can provide them assistance in their health issues or in the mental health issues. So this type of gaps which I first of all point out, and after that I provide them solution. So this is the whole procedure.
That's great. I mean, it looks like it's a combination of, you know, figuring out what problem you can work on, you can solve, looking for the gaps, doing the research, and then connecting with organizations that maybe can provide not only more information, but partnership and acting or getting some kind of a policy move forward. So in the case of the big one that you were working on now, that you said the EU, AU, you know, the women's health one, the normal process then when you're getting something that's going through the UN like that would be to go to, once you get to that level, is to get them to, once you get to the AU, then it becomes law for everybody to pass down to the local governing bodies and process there. It seems like that would be kind of a time-consuming process, but that is what it takes, correct?
Yeah, true. It will take time because they collect the data from us and policies, and they said that they will implement in the world wherever they think that it is necessary. And after they told us that when they will start this project there, and they will invite the person who was the part of the policy making in inauguration or in the opening ceremony of that project, and hope so. I am finger crossed and waiting.
So in essence, sort of a policy, the way that you would draft it would be almost like a business plan, more or less. What it is, the problem it's solving, who it's impacting, and what the result or the goal is for, you know, the impact that you're trying to reach. And so and then how to enact, do you have to actually lay out how they are to enact that as law, or how they're to implement it as policy?
Yeah, they must be working on that. Like according to my idea, when I planned it like that, if someone is vulnerable and in a position that if you can take a pregnant woman, she is suffering from the problem. She doesn't have a place to live. She doesn't have medicine or food. And if we provide them 9 to 10, 11 months, a period where they can stay, the place where they can stay, they can take care of themselves. We can provide them skills with the help of the community. Anyone who is good in any skill, they can teach that person the skills, and the other person in the result of that can work in the farms. Or like I developed the whole procedure is like self-empowerment. At the same time, they can live in that area, which was idealized as 2-bed and 3-bed you can say apartments, which also has some farm area, which also has some land area where kids can play. So kids can play, kids can learn, and can have education if as a community work, if doctors are willing to come on the weekly basis or monthly basis to check these female, what they are suffering from, what they have problems, and at the result, these female can work on the gardening or provide some livestock, work on the livestock, and then from these livestock they can produce earning, and these earning can be utilized on them also, and also will help them to run the whole community. So this was the basic idea of my proposal, which will lead them to the self-empowerment, and at the end of their uh, like when they deliver their baby and they are in the position, so they when they leave the institution, they will be in the position to earn for themselves and take care of their child too.
Yeah. Very good. That's kind of comprehensive too.
Yeah,
That,
it
very
is a
comprehensive.
comprehensive system.
Yeah. So I'm not sure where all the money comes from to do all that. But
That's the true. That's the true. Like if I provide them a very comprehensive, you can say it is like a small village or sustainable place, you can say.
Yeah.
But we need then at the end we need investors and who are ready to invest in that and who are interested to work for the sustainable world. So because there are a lot of slogans on the sustainability of the world and to
Yeah.
achieve the sustainable development goals. So if we want to achieve it, that we have to work on that.
Yeah, you have to. You got to put energy and finances to it. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. Sam, do you have any comments, questions to ask?
Yeah, mine was also about the policymaking process. I just wanted to ask you kind of how long the implementation usually takes, and if it's like usually successful or sometimes you have to restart
Ooh,
or it doesn't get implemented.
This question is a bit tricky that I cannot say that how long it takes. Maybe it will take 3 to 5 years, because we have to look into all the into all the matters, that because you once you provided them policy and once they sit and agree, UN is based on you can say that 132 countries or something, and all will sit and agree that okay, this policy is very good and we need an investors, or we what are the consequences and what are the interests of the people. Like you have to take the stakeholders on the table and convince them. So it's a long process, and all the policies which came into being take time, but it need a honesty and a power and a will that you want to do it. So I hope so. That I hope that it will take time, but it will be into being. Otherwise, we cannot just look in toward the UN to work for us. We must work on the grassroots level and develop our own policies and directly contact to the government. Or if government cannot do, then the non-profit organizations should collaborate with each others and work on the community-based level programs. We can engage our youth and the youngsters to work on that.
Is policy easier to implement in some countries than others?
It depends on the policy implementer, like what are their intentions. If their intentions are good and they want to implement it, so it's easy. It depends on how many stakeholders are there. If they're like if the policy is going to implement to the whole world, it's there are a lot of stakeholders, so it takes time.
Yeah, and it depends on the governing leaders, I think. And I think
Yeah.
the boys here will agree, the young men.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing you all are young, because apparently it's going to take a while to get your policies moved forward. But I think the biggest chunk of that is in any policy, that means there's change, and changing mindsets is a huge undertaking.
Yeah.
When people are stuck in the same spot and have been for a number of years. And I think you gentlemen will know that. From the works that you already are doing. Young Sam here is just kind of is getting there, but you gentlemen have been working in it for a little while. Did anybody else have a follow-up question? Because I have one last one for the ambassador, but you go ahead if you have another one. Anybody else? Okay, James.
Okay, thank you very much, Mary.
Mhm.
Okay, um, uh, Ambassador, I'm also into policymaking. Yeah, my team and I, we were able to craft out a policy to address unemployment. We went to the communities, different communities, to understand what actually is their problems. We have 31 local governments in the state I reside, so we got to understand that the major thing that they were faced with was unemployment. So we had to gather and brainstorm to craft a policy which was championed by, which we interfaced with one of the legislative champions to take over. And then the policy has actually gone through all the processes, and is yet to be assented by the governor. And you've shared how you were able to go through this process, and I can relate to the same thing. Now I want to appeal to you to, I don't know how you'll be able to come in, if you can. We've actually done all the things we need to do to address unemployment, because one of the root causes of conflict in Africa is unemployment. When people are not engaged, people do not have the skills, they do not have what they are doing, they tend to tilt towards conflict, and they are just vulnerable, and they can be used by any desperate institution to cause havoc in the society. So we've been able to craft out this policy, and we do not have the stakeholders, the political stakeholders, agreeing to this policy. They don't want to assent to this policy so that it can become a law. And then we have fundings for youth activities. We have funding for capacity building for young people in my state. And the funny thing about this policy is that the same thing we crafted, some states in Nigeria adopted the same thing, and then they assented it in their own state. They are making use of it. They are actually benefiting from it. They are having their young people trained in different skills and different vocations. But in my state that originated the policy, we are yet to have the assent from the governor. So I want to appeal to you, anyhow you can interface with the subnational to begin to adopt one of these policies, to get them to assent this, is going to be of great help to over 7 million people in my state.
Yeah, it is a complicated question, and it's difficult to implement the policies when, like, once you think that it's good for your community, but when you send it to the government and ask for the funds that you want to implement it, so there are a lot of you can say problems and hurdles, because there is corruption, there is relatives, because someone want to give these projects to their relatives, and these are the things which are the main reason of destruction in the world. Because again, I said that we first need to again wash our brains, and we have to do some brainstorming, that if you want to work for the humanity and you want that to sustain this world for the betterment and for the next generation, we need to elect leaders which are really loyal and which are really ready to work. Whenever we elect the leaders and the politicians who come on the basis of their influence, so there are these problems will exist. But what I can recommend you, that the skills which you can provide and which doesn't need too much help from the government or from the other, we have to go back to the cultivation again. Like for the organic food, there is a big market for the organic food. It's very easy to do the mushroom agriculture. It's very easy to produce the shrimps, are very easy to produce the um, seafoods. So if we can, what I can say, if we can provide these small skills to our communities, they can start their own business and they don't need to go for very complicated skill or for very big workshops or to a big institution for paying them a big fee and getting some very high level skills and do the any type of job or business. So let's start from the zero, from the smaller level. And I believe that whenever you start community work and you start working from the grassroots level, it's very easy and it is more influential and its impact is very great than starting from the upper level and going to the grassroots level. What do you think?
It's okay. It's okay. But on the other hand, I think we've done enough job. It took like 4 years before it went through all the legislative processes. It took 4 years. We had to engage all the stakeholders, political stakeholders, policymakers. We had to keep telling them that this is the need of the people. In fact, we had to even send letters to tell them that if they don't do it, we are not going to elect them for the next election. So that was why they even had to make it go fast. Towards when the election time was coming, they had to make the policy go through the processes. But the assent was what was lacking. If it was assented to, we could have had a law that would empower people. We could have had a job for young teeming population. We could have had a law that will invest in agriculture, invest in entrepreneurship, invest in innovation. We could have had a law that, we had a structure. In the law, there's a structure, there's a board that was going to take care of these things to ensure that there's transparency, accountability, and that the money that is being injected are utilized, that they are used for the right people, and the processes are transparent. So when we have leaders who become inaccessible and when they get into power, it becomes a problem to us because we are doing this to solve certain problems. We know that the conflict is rising. Like I was telling Mary the last time that I think 2 months ago, we had a situation where young people started taking arms and then attacking security agencies. So such things are not dealt with. It may escalate into something else. So
I want to interrupt you that the young people are taking arms, but have you figured out from where they are getting these arms? If they can get these arms, so why don't they can use like that money? Because they are going to buy these arms or someone is giving them these arms. So there is an hidden agenda. Like I'm talking very clear that there must be some hidden agenda that why the youngsters are getting arms without any money, but they cannot get the jobs or skills with the money. So again,
there's another gap.
Like the politics and the humanitarian work and the human, they all work together, and in every country there is a lot of things which are going under the carpet, and we can just work hard and we can just play our own part, how we can control it or can be beneficial for that. Again, starting from the grassroots level is easy because whenever you start from the big like you want to solve the big issue, is difficult. I hope you understand.
Everyone,
you
we need to finish up so that Ambassador can be with her family because it's quite late where she is in the evening. So, and I know it's getting late for everybody else. So I'm going to let everybody go. But I was going to say thank you so much, Ambassador, for your time this evening. And thank you everyone for showing up. I appreciate that. And I'm sure the Ambassador enjoyed the interaction with you and got to learn a little bit from you as well as you from her. But
Thank
I
you
would
so
say
much.
if you welcome an ambassador, if somebody else had a question or felt uncomfortable about sharing it openly on record, if they would like to send it to you, we can make that email address available just to this group and ask them not to share it
Yes,
beyond
sure.
this group. And I can make sure that everybody has that in a follow-up email so that they can do that.
Yes,
And I
sure.
think that if there is any particular policy making training that you're aware of that ever comes along that might be good for this group, if you could make that available to them to know. So, you know,
Yeah, sure. I can provide a policy training.
There you go. Everyone, she's just put her email address in the
Yeah,
chat.
here's
You'll
my
pick
email
that up
address
from
and
here. Yeah. Then that will be good. So
yeah. So I just like working on my own organization. Like I started a company as a business consultant and human rights consultant. So I'm thinking like it's in my plans to provide trainings on policies and strategies, how you can make the policies and how you can work on your leadership, soft skills. There are a lot of things I want to share, and I want the youngsters to learn from me. And I'm working on that, and I hope so that you will get the
Well,
benefit.
keep me informed on that because I can certainly help you fill up your
That's great.
classes. We can work on how that can happen in the most beneficial way.
Sure.
You and to
Sure.
everybody else. So thank you again. This is terrific. We appreciate it. Thank you,
so much.
everybody. Any last words from anyone?
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I enjoyed
Thank you.
it
We
and
appreciate
hope you
it.
got something from me.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
I
we
also
did.
learned a lot
We
from
got-
you.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
we
always
learned a lot. Yeah.
benefit. All right. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye. Have a good evening. Take care.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you,
Ambassador.
Ambassador.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.